Hey guys, Sharp Sparky here, and today I got a review of this Klein Tools 15-in-1 classic screwdriver, and today's review will actually be my first, so bear with me on that. But I just want to let you guys know my opinion on this, what's good, what's bad, and overall if it's right for you. So we start with the handle, which is actually quite nice, and it's pretty well made, to be honest. The tab here that houses all the bits is pretty nice. It has a nice action, good retention, and it also swivels. It's meant to be sort of in your palm as you're turning to save your palm. They advertise it as a palm saver, but really I didn't feel it to be that useful at all, and it was kind of annoying in situations where I needed strong grip and it would turn in my hand as I was trying to turn a screw. So there's that. Anyways, my overall opinion on this, I think I'll be returning it. It is not as robust of a tool as I need. I much prefer this model here, which is the Klein Heavy Duty Multi, and this right here is my backup. It's not the one that I've been using, but I have one that I have been using for a year. And that one has taken all kinds of abuse and done stuff that shouldn't be done with a screwdriver, and especially not a multi-screwdriver, but it's taken it all, and it still works. It's taken falls from super high heights, off lifts and tall ladders, and it's been hit with a hammer, it's been used as a chisel, a pry bar, held open big doors, you name it, it's done it, and it's still going, and really there's nothing wrong with it other than a little bit of scuffs and some beating on the back here, and a couple little scuffs on the handle, whatnot, stuff that happens over time. But even the bits themselves have held up really well too. No major rounding on anything. Of course, a bit of wear happens, especially when you're turning lots of screws, but it is what it is. So we get to this, and they say 15-in-1 because you have the 1/4-inch nut driver here, and then you have 14 other bits in the 2 that are in the chamber, and then another 12 here. So there's lots of options with this, but to be fair, there really isn't anything that compelling to me over what's in this. Whenever I use this, I'm almost never at a point where I'm like, I really need something that this doesn't have. The odd time you run into something like a Phillips number 3 or a Robertson number 3, which are kind of odd and don't come up too often, but I keep those screwdrivers separately for the odd times that they do happen. Also too, when you come across those, it's usually something that requires quite some leverage, so the multi screwdrivers aren't the best at that anyways. But what this has over the other screwdriver that I've shown is like a Phillips number 0 and some Torx heads, and yeah, that's pretty well all that it has over the other one. And those to me aren't very useful at all and not that important to me. The one thing that this does have that is much better is this right here, which is, I'm pretty sure, the combination bit. Anyways, it's a mix of like a Robertson with a flathead, and you'll find it most on different electrical, like on plugs you'll find it as the screws, and you'll also find them on conduit fittings and just a bunch of other stuff, and it is really useful. And this is the one thing that I wish this one had, but at the end of the day it's not a game breaker, because it's useful for those situations, because once you're locked into that screw, it won't slip out at all. But at the same time, just a flathead or just a Robertson does the job anyways. It's just not as secure as this combination bit. But this brings me to why I don't necessarily love this screwdriver, and that is, it's not very robust compared to this one, or just your standard screwdriver that's all in one, such as this, for just a random option. This screwdriver, I'm most certain, has a hollow shaft here, and it's fairly thin, so if you're doing any type of prying, I would be very worried about bending this and then having pretty well a useless screwdriver at that point. Also, this section here is hollowed out, and obviously to house this part of the handle is hollowed out, and this is something that won't hold up to use insanely well over time, I would think. Also, the bits on this seem to be a lot softer than the bits on this. I use this a little bit, and sometimes it does happen where you slightly slip on the screw, and that shouldn't be a problem for your screwdrivers if they're of good quality. But I noticed on this that doing so slightly damaged the bits, which is kind of concerning, because if that was in 2 days of use, what happens over a full year of use? Anyways, so to me that was kind of a red flag there. The construction is kind of not what I would want for something that will end up seeing some abuse over its time, and some stuff that, yes, you're not supposed to pry and chisel and hammer on and all that on your screwdrivers, but if it's the only thing that you got on you, it's gonna happen, and I want something that'll be able to take that and keep going and not get disformed and be an unusable tool. So also one thing that was annoying is the bits, while being in here fairly well, they're not retained in there super well, to the point where I dropped it once and then I had 3 bits rattling around, and one time I used it to put a lock nut on, and just a couple light taps from my pliers at the end of the screwdriver also set a couple bits free and rattling around the handle. And I feel like over time this will definitely, some of these will wear down or they might break, and then you'll have just bits rattling around this handle all the time as you're turning it and using it. So overall, it's a nice tool, but it's a tool that I feel suits the homeowner or someone who'd be using this as like a maintenance guy and doing light duty, and when they're using it, it would be specifically just to turn screws and they wouldn't be doing anything extra, if that is the right way to say it. So yeah, overall not super impressed, and part of the reason why I'm not impressed, which I'll get to right now, is the price of this. This, for me, in Canada, was a $54 screwdriver to my door. So it cost me $54 after tax to get this to my door, which is really expensive. I could buy 2 of these and still have money left over. So for the one screwdriver, for the price that they are asking, it's too expensive for me. If this was a $20 screwdriver and it was lighter duty like it is, I wouldn't be so worried about if something happened to it. But for the price that it is, I could not see myself replacing one of these every 3 months for $54. And that was on a good price that I had bought it at, because I had kept my eye on it on Amazon for a while. And then it came up at that price, and I figured, you know what, I'll buy it and try it out, and worst comes to worst, I can return it. Normally I never return tools because I just figure, oh, I'll throw them in my at-home screwdriver bag. But for the price of this, I think it's a little bit much, and I definitely think I will not be keeping this tool. And I just wanted to let people know what my opinion is on it, and yeah, that's really all I can say. If you're looking to buy this one, the model number is right there, and it is the heavy duty multi. The model number on this one is right there, and it is the 15-in-1 Classic. Still a great piece if you're a fan of Klein tools, or you just want a high quality multi screwdriver to use around the house. This would definitely suit that need. As a tradesperson on the field, I feel like this screwdriver is not robust enough for what that demands, and you'd be much better off going with something like this, or another option, which could be just the regular full screwdrivers, like a full flathead and a full Phillips and Robertson. But this screwdriver is a little bit overpriced for what you get, and a little bit flimsy for what I'd expect from Klein, because they're meant for the electrician on the job sites and doing stuff that they know isn't necessarily intended, but it happens. Like, they specifically make demolition screwdrivers with metal caps to be beat on, and their pliers are used as hammers worldwide by electricians, so it is what it is. But that's my honest opinion on this, and thought I'd share it. And this being my first video, I know it's probably not very good at all, but I am very open to comments and constructive criticism. So let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything I should do in the future videos, and thanks for watching.